Salve, and welcome to Parsing John. Today we are in chapter 1, verse 32, the second half of this paragraph. We're only going to do one verse today, and it looks like that's probably the way we're going to do it from now on. Keep these videos at least reasonably short. Here is the rubric, everything that we're looking for as we go through these verses. Let's go ahead and get started. Et testimonium parhebuit Ioannes dicens quia vidi spiritum discedentem quasi columbam de caelo et mansit super eam. That's as far as we're going to go today. We want to find our verb first, whenever you're changing from one language into another language, and that we have right here, perhibuit. This is one we've seen before, and when we initially ran into it, I believe, in the early teens of verses, it was not what I was expecting. But as far as I could tell from the way that Latin functions, this is how this phrase would be set up. Perhibuit, as we have our U here in IT, from parhibo, it's parhibo because third, parhibere, parhibui, perfect tense. Perfect, active, and indicative. I believe this means held or cited. One has to hold or cite a direct object, which we find in testimonium right here, and our subject is Ioannes. Es here is an unusual singular nominative, but it does happen, especially when you're pulling something from another language. Testimonium, accusative, singular, and I believe a neuter. And then et, of course, just means, almost from the beginning, and connecting verse 32 with verse 31. And John held testimony. Dicens, since we've got ns here off of our stem dic with a connecting vowel e, we know that this is a present participle. It could be nominative or accusative singular, but since we've got John as a nominative singular masculine, this one is probably going to be the same thing, just acting as an adjective modifying him. Present, active, participle, saying, quia, I'm going to put quotes right there, quia just means because, vidi comes from video, videre, vidi, so this is another perfect tense with a long I, also first, well, not also third, it's first person this time. I saw, or I have seen, technically. Saw is probably going to be the better of the two options. Spiritum, right here. Since it ends in we can actually tell that this is a masculine noun, because this is a fourth declension word. Spiritus, spiritus, spiritui, spiritum, spiritu. Is something that only the masculine and feminine fourths use. And there are very, very few feminine. I can't actually even think of one. Spirit. Discedentem in T here, as our stem tells us that this is another participle, especially since we've got discend as our stem of a verb. Em is accusative, masculine or feminine. It could be masculine because spiritum is masculine. And it means what it looks like. Descending. Quasi. This is, I forget what type of word this is, but it just gives the idea of just as, just like, similar to, a comparison to something else. Columbam, got am right here, which is accusative singular feminine. And this is where we get the word for Columbia. So there's no I in there. This just means dove. Just as dove. De caelo, prepositional phrase. We've got an O here. We know that de is taking the ablative case, accusative ablative. And this is singular and cannot remember. if this is masculine or neuter. I think it's probably going to be masculine, question mark. From heaven. No, not masculine. I don't remember. And it doesn't matter very much. We don't have any adjectives modifying it. Et mansit, and we've got it here, which is clearly a third person and singular. This is from maneo mare mansi, so perfect tense. Active and indicative. Remained. So we don't have a repetition, or we don't have any instance of another noun here that could be your subject. We just assume the same subject from before, and that's going to be spiritum descendentem quasi columbum. All that together is one subject, and so we would treat this as a nominative now. We're entering a new clause, and just connecting two clauses together rather than de caelo and something else, because conjunctions can only connect two things of the same type. So if et were connecting caelo to something, then the next thing would have to also be either a prepositional phrase or part of this same prepositional phrase. From heaven and from something else, or from heaven and into something else, something along those lines. But since it's not connecting caelo and anything else that is like caelo here, so we've got a verb. Et is technically connecting the clause of mansit with the clause of vidi. All right, super, or the clause of discendentem. Super is a preposition. Eum is its object. We can't go any further because our verse starts right there. Eum is accusative singular, so super is taking accusative here. I think that's the only thing it can take. You tells us that this is masculine. And this is, of course, from is, ea, and id. Above. Or over. Capital him. And that ends our verse. Let's go ahead and take a look at it in its own context. And John held testimony, saying, because I saw Spirit descending as a dove from heaven and remained above him, or over him. Not very much to go on there. Let's take a look at it in the greater context from verse 29. On next day, John sees Jesus coming to himself, and he says, look, or behold, Lamb of God, who takes or lifts sin of world. This one is about whom I said, after me comes or came a man who became before me, because he was before me. And I was not knowing or used to not know him, but in order that he might be revealed to Israel. Therefore, or because of this or these, I came baptizing in water. And John held testimony, saying, because I saw Spirit, or have seen Spirit, descending just as dove from heaven, and remained above or over him. And you could say it, greater clarity in English. So there's the entire context, verse 29 through 32. I hope taking a look at this verse has been helpful for you, and thank you very much for joining me. Have a good day.